Which iPad Pro should I buy, 11 or 12.9? Find out which iPad is right for you and what specification. I'll have time codes in the video descriptions. Both the 11-inch and 12.9-inch iPad Pros got a huge update, but the 12.9-inch iPad Pro got a mind-blowing update. The 12.9-inch iPad Pro comes with a Liquid Retina XDR display, which is mini LED. It's the same technology they use in Apple's Pro Display XDR, the one with a $1,000 stand, and they put it in an iPad. It has 1000 nits sustained brightness. The reason why that's important is the Apple Silicon on MacBook Pro only has a 500 nits brightness, and so then you can really see it outside. And for HDR content, it's amazing. It has a 1600 nits peak brightness for HDR content. The 12.9-inch iPad Pro does. The 11-inch iPad Pro still has the same display as it had previously, the Liquid Retina display. And they both come with True Tone and P3 wide color gamut and ProMotion 120 Hz adaptive refresh rate to ramp up or down, 24 Hz for when you're watching cinematic content and things like that, and 120 Hz when you're navigating the interface or doing other things like that, or like sketching in Photoshop or working on a LumaFusion timeline or things like that. And then the 12.9-inch iPad Pro has over 10,000 mini LEDs in the display and over 2,500 local dimming zones, which is a huge amount, and a 1.8% reflectivity, which is a very low reflectivity. The connectivity for the iPad Pros, the 12.9 and 11, both have 5G support, everybody, because the main benefits going with the 5G iPad Pro is that you can do distance learning from anywhere. It takes mobile productivity to the next level. The 5G iPad Pro eliminates the necessity to stay in one place, opening you up to a world of possibilities while decreasing friction for being productive on the go. After all, reducing friction is the key to productivity. Also, cellular connectivity allows you to choose the environment that best suits towards your needs and preferences, wherever that be, at the park, at the beach, or somewhere else. But I'm not a big fan of 5G, and it's millimeter wave 5G for the US residents, where it's sub-6 for the rest of the world. And they both come with eSIM support, and the cellular version of the iPads also come with GPS and GLONASS, but the standard versions don't. But most people generally don't need GLONASS and GPS anymore on their iPad. And Wi-Fi 6, because Wi-Fi 6 is amazing, and I've been waiting for the iPads to come with Wi-Fi 6 as a student and a pro user who does most of the work on their iPad Pro. Wi-Fi 6 is amazing. And for the ports, it now comes with Thunderbolt 4 port / Thunderbolt 3, which has a transfer throughput of 40 gigabytes per second. So you can plug it into SSDs. I'll have linked in the video description the affiliate things I'm talking about, and to the videos on Thunderbolt SSDs for your iPad, and external monitor support, a little that with full monitor support that you can plug it in your new iPad Pro into Apple's Pro Display XDR, which is a 6K resolution. The iPad Pro 2021 just got a huge spec bump. They both have the M1 chip now, the same chip that's in the MacBook Pro and newly announced iMac. And they can come all the way up to 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is a huge amount of RAM. The base model is 8 gigabytes now. Previously, the highest RAM you could get on an iPad or an iPad Pro was 6 gigs. Now the base model is 2 gigs more than even last year's most spec'd out one. Stay tuned to find out which ones I would recommend for who, which ones have the 8 gigs of RAM, and then which ones have the 16 gigs of RAM, and who should get those and why. Okay, now moving on to the cameras, because the cameras got a huge improvement this year also. The back camera got improvements to the low light performance and HDR version 3. And then the front camera, which is the camera that would generally be facing you in like your Zoom calls at work at home and when you have your iPad productivity desk set up and things like that. It has a new ultra wide camera, which is improved, and it has this new function called center stage, which, since it has a super wide field of view, because YouTubers and all of us doing work at home like super wide angle, it allows you to have the camera follow you when you're going around, and then if somebody else comes in, it can expand so it fits both of you in the frame. And it looks really cool, and it also comes with 5 studio quality microphones, and for the speakers you have 4 stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos support. And then in regards to pricing, because we all want to know how much this is going to cost us, the 11-inch iPad Pro starts at $799, which is the same price as last year, so that's good. So the 11-inch iPad Pro didn't get the Liquid Retina XDR display tech and all those things. And then the 12.9-inch iPad Pro with the Liquid Retina XDR display got an increase of price, but not as much as I thought it was going to be. It starts at $1,099 and goes all the way up to, if you want to get the 2TB one with 16 gigs of RAM and 5G cellular, its price is $2,399, which is a lot for an iPad. But if you work on your iPad all day, every day, then you want to spend money where you spend most of your time, is the general good rule of thumb. But given the rule of diminishing returns, I would probably say that for video creators and YouTube people and people in the multimedia field and students like that, I would probably recommend either, if you're looking for the most budget one, don't get the 128 one. Get either 512 or 256 of the for storage. That will give you 8 gigs of RAM. But for my money, if I'm going to be buying a 12.9-inch iPad Pro, I would get the 1TB or 2TB version of iPad, because then you get 16 gigs of RAM. And so that's a huge amount of RAM. Apple doesn't currently take advantage of all that RAM, but I can pretty much guarantee you that when iPadOS 15 comes out, they're going to be coming out with new functions that allow it to utilize more of that RAM or things like that, because it's running the same chip as the Mac Mini or the iMac or the Apple Silicon MacBook Pro does. And so, but I kind of wanted it today, but that's just because they're so amazing and I'm so excited. I can't wait to review it and tell you all about it, guys. So stay tuned. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I would generally get the cellular model, but I already have an iPad with cellular. And now that we're all doing work at home, I don't really find that cellular is as much of a necessary function now, especially since we're all working at home. And I already have an iPhone and an Apple Watch, so if I need GLONASS, I always got the iPad for GPS and GLONASS, but that was before I had an Apple Watch and an iPhone that could both do it consistently and reliably. And so I'm always wearing my Apple Watch, so it's not like I'm not going to be wearing my Apple Watch. And so I'm gonna get the 1TB storage option, probably without cellular, but we'll see. And I really want to get the 2TB one because video projects can take up quite an amount of resources and space, but that's a lot of money. And so I might just get the 1TB one, because that one's the sweet spot for price per dollar, is the 12.9-inch iPad Pro 1TB without cellular, and that one is $1,799, which is still a lot for an iPad. That's desktop computer and MacBook Pro territory, and that's before you get a Magic Keyboard case and Thunderbolt cables and all the accessories. I'll have a video linked in the description for my favorite everyday carry for iPad. Leave your comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and like if you liked it, because it really does help. So check out one of these videos.